Hey, this is Just a Dude Practicing. This channel is the riveting, real-time tale of a dude trying to get better at gypsy jazz guitar. I upload every single practice session so you can see all the details, everything that goes into my process anyway. The overall goal for now is to be good enough to gig, and that means rhythm, soloing, all the other stuff that comes with it. So this is my monthly progress report for July 1st, and in these progress reports I like to go over what I'm working on, how things are going, what's improved, challenges I'm facing. So I was gone for almost half of June. So I got back from my trip and I got right back into practicing. So the first question that I always start off with is, am I better than I was a month ago? Well, I've only practiced 13 times in the last month. So I'm getting better at the things I'm working on, which I'll go into in a little bit. My technique palette seems to be expanding a bit because of, again, the things I'm working on. A lot of bends, a lot of sweeps. It's a different sound than what I had been doing previously. I have a few go-to licks recently that I've really come to enjoy playing and that just seem to fall nicely under the fingers. So yeah, I mean, I'm better, but you know, I've only played 13 times in the last month, so you know, nothing significantly improved. So, like I said, I didn't play for 2 weeks when I was gone. I was on a trip. I didn't bring my guitar because I didn't want the extra luggage. I was staying at my sister's house. Didn't want to annoy anyone with, you know, endless repetitions of licks and phrases and all the fun stuff that goes into practicing. I said this in the last progress report, but maybe when I start gigging, I might, you know, start traveling with the guitar when I need to. But for now, I didn't want the pressure of having to practice when, you know, I was on a trip for other reasons. So during those, well, I guess it was close to 2 weeks, I did get a little antsy. I was in a room, there was a cello, and I messed around with the cello for a little bit just to do something. It turns out I can't play cello. My sister had this little toy ukulele, and I thought, oh, I'll tune this. I think I was a week into the trip. I was like, oh, I'll tune this thing up and maybe, you know, at least strum a little bit. I tried tuning it. One of the tuners completely popped out of the guitar, so I had no luck. I was completely guitarless. I was kind of worried that I was going to get back from my trip and have a hard time getting back into the rhythm of, you know, finding 2 hours or close to 2 hours every day again. But getting back to practicing wasn't as bad as I thought. I told myself before I got back, you know, I had this kind of script running in my head. Look, we're going to get back home. We're going to start the routine again, and that's it. So it was a little rough. I haven't hit 2 hours every single time, so I don't know what that's about. I blame jet lag for the first week, but anyway, I'm getting back into it. But it's kind of amazing how even a relatively short break can threaten to derail everything. So luckily, when I started practicing again, it wasn't too bad, like technique-wise. Like I didn't like lose everything. The first couple of days were a little choppy, but you know, it came back pretty quickly, which was nice. Let's see. Normally I talk about changes, but I guess I'm not doing that this time. So when I was away, I actually had a chance to meet up with someone from the Discord that I'm a part of. That's Christian. I've been saying his name wrong. I've been saying Christian Van Hamert's Discord. And I've been using his books for most of this year to learn how to solo. He's got a great system where essentially you learn licks and phrases in all 12 keys. So you really learn the fretboard well. You learn what needs to go where, like phrases for 2-5-1s, for major, minor, for dominant chains, all that good stuff. Anyway, so there's a Discord that's very active, and I had a chance to meet up with one of the guys from the Discord. That was really interesting. He's an accomplished guitarist, so we sat down for a few hours, and he told me his story. His was much more impressive musically than mine. I think he said he's been a professional guitarist since it was either college or just before college. We talked about so much that some of the details have kind of fallen away. But it's just really interesting to hear other people's progressions, kind of how they've approached music. Because I've only seen his Gypsy stuff. He's really good. He's got great technique. But apparently he's done rock and funk and every other genre you can think of. So turns out he's taken lessons with a lot of the top names in the gypsy jazz world. He plays with Paul Melling. I think that's how you say it, Melling. I think he's called the godfather of American gypsy jazz. So he's in his band. Yeah, we talked about a bunch about festivals. I actually haven't been to a festival yet, but I hope to one of these days. And this is random, kind of a tangent, but whatever. This is my channel. You can click away if you want. I thought about starting my own festival because they don't have a gypsy jazz festival where I live. I thought, it'd be really cool, just kind of start it, get the ball rolling, and eventually have a lot of big names here and have classes and workshops. But I talked to Dennis Chang about it because he was here a few months ago, and he told me a bunch of details that I hadn't considered. Things like the difficulty of getting professionals here, paying them, which, funny enough, I hadn't considered. I thought if you build it, they will come, but apparently it's not that easy. And one of the main issues is visas. So I don't live in the U.S. And anyway, the gypsy jazz world, all the top players are scattered around the globe. So you need to, actually get people here. So anyway, I probably won't be starting a festival anytime soon, even though I've had it in mind for a long time. But Dennis Chang kind of convinced me not to. So, all right, moving on. All right, this is actually a really big change. So in the last progress report, I talked about how I changed picks. So I was using the Dunlop Gator Grip 2mm. And after, I talked about this in the last progress report, but just to recap, someone asked me about picks on one of the comments on my channel. And they said they were having trouble and it felt awkward and, have I dealt with that? And it turns out they were using a 3.5mm. And I was like, well, that might be the issue. Because if you look at a list of the top players, they're all using thinner picks. Like almost all of them are using 1.5 or, within that, like just under 2mm range. So I replied, I told them, maybe that's the issue. As an amateur, right? I'm very hesitant to give any sort of advice because I'm just a dude practicing, trying to get better. But I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? Why am I using a 2mm? If all the people I respect are using thinner picks, why don't I? So I went with the Dunlop Gator Grip 1.5. It's the green one. Has a nice texture, nice rough texture. So I was like, this is it. This is the pick I'm sticking with. I'm never changing. Like I am not interested in being on a constant search for a better pick. This is it for now. And then Christian Van Hamert did a reaction to my last progress report, and he spent a bit of time talking about picks. And basically he said, and he said this in the Discord too, in other videos, he goes, no one uses the Gator Grip 1.5. He goes, just go with the Delrin 1.5. It's a smooth one, and don't look back. So I thought about it, and I was like, I wasn't going to change, but you know what? If the people I respect who play way better than I do are all, not all of them, but a lot of them are going with this particular pick, I should just do it. Now, I tried the Delrin a long time ago, and I found it too slippery. It's very smooth. This is what it looks like, by the way. So completely smooth. I felt like it was it would move around when I would play, especially rhythm. It was always kind of changing positions. But again, if it's highly recommended, who am I to say, that's not good enough for me? So actually, I went to a guitar center when I was away, and they didn't have it. So as soon as I got back, the day I got back, went to a shop, grabbed one. So yes, I have changed picks, and I will again declare I'm not changing again. Now, I don't love it yet. I'm getting used to it. It is a little bit slippery, but if I just kind of wipe the sweat off a little bit with a paper towel, it's fine. I mean, I've only used it 13 times, so well, I guess 14 because I just finished practicing a few minutes ago. I am starting to like it a little bit more. I am noticing some sweeping motions feel a little bit smoother. I mean, that could be my imagination, so I don't know. But yeah, big change. I switched picks, and I don't plan on changing ever. So we'll see how long that lasts. Tune in for the next progress report. Okay. This is not so much a change as it is an update. So I've dealt with pain in my left hand before. These knuckles of my left hand, my fretting hand, felt bruised, felt very stiff. And I was worried that I was kind of entering into the realm of tendonitis. But seems to be totally fine now. It was getting better. Then I went away, stopped playing for 2 weeks, and I'm assuming that really helped. So the left hand seems to be fine. What I'm working on now is very similar to what led to the problem, I think, which is like endless repetitions of stuff I've already memorized. So it's like I'm not going slow. I'm not going note by note, just trying to figure out phrases and licks. I've got the stuff I'm working on memorized. So now I'm like, again, doing endless repetitions at and speeding up the backing tracks on the metronome. So hopefully it doesn't come back, but I fear I'm doing the same exact thing that caused the problem in the first place. So we'll see. As for the right hand, I had a bulging disc in my neck. Seems to be okay. My first 2 fingers were completely numb. I mean, like basically glove anesthesia. But that's down 97% if I had to put a number on it. So, I mean, it didn't really interrupt my playing or disrupt my playing in any way. I mean, it was a little disconcerting not being able to really like feel the pick. But yeah, that seems to be better. So there. That's good news. All right, next change. So I've been juggling. Okay, so I finished book 2 of the Van Hammer system. And I've talked about it in all the other progress reports, but basically what it is book 2 is 10 chapters, and the first 7 chapters were sets of licks or phrases. And the first chapter was major, the second chapter was minor. There are a few chapters on 251s, and there's a major 251 chapter. And the idea is to play these licks as a set in all 12 keys over a backing track at 170 BPM. So I did that. It took a while. It took about 2.5 months. It was 70 practice sessions of just about 2 hours each. I did it. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun because the work was clear, right? When I sat down to practice, I knew exactly what I was supposed to work on. It was, getting these exercises down, getting these licks memorized, up to speed, and kind of ingrained well enough that I could get through a whole, through all 12 keys for a set without making too many mistakes. And then I finished the book. And then I was like, all right, well, now what? I need to work on rhythm. I need to work on, applying the phrases to soloing, right? So get them out of the kind of pre-programmed static set and start, gaining some flexibility with the material. So I was working on that. I also I got book 3 because if you can pass book 2, you get the next book, or either book 3 or 4, or later on when Christian Van Hammer has more books, you get to choose one of those for free, which is awesome. So I chose book 3. So I was doing a little bit of book 3. I was applying some of the book 2 material to soloing or composing solos. I was doing a little bit of rhythm. I was trying to work on my vibrato, which still sucks. And I was getting a little overwhelmed trying to juggle everything. Meanwhile, I was starting to really fall in love with book 3. Not just the clear-cut work, right? Again, knowing when I sit down, work in the exercises, get the technique down, I know what I need to do. So I was in the last progress report, I think I mentioned I didn't really know, I was still trying to figure out what it was I wanted to do. I left, thought about guitar quite a bit. I got back and I just decided, you know what? Guitar right now is fun. I just, for the most part, I get frustrated a lot. But I just want to enjoy the things that I'm doing. And luckily the things that I'm doing are, all things that contribute to growth. And I'll have to get to everything eventually, right? I'll have to get to rhythm eventually, and I'll have to finally figure out my vibrato or work on it long enough. I'll have to learn melodies and memorize the chords to songs and all that fun stuff. I was like, well, what do I want to do right now? And I just want to work on book 3. So I decided I'm going to focus on Van Hamert system, book 3. Worry about other stuff later. I know, I do need to work on actually putting the material to soloing and all that, but right now, I'm still getting the techniques down. I'm still, trying to expand my palette of techniques. I think I mentioned in the beginning of the video, my vocabulary, things like that. And I don't know. I just want to focus on the book for now. So that is the plan. That's what I've done the last couple of weeks. Last 13, 14 with today, practice sessions. And so after book 3, I think I say it now, but I think I'll be kind of satisfied with how much stuff I know, and I'll have enough where I won't feel bad just working on applying the material. Right? I won't feel a necessity to necessarily add anything for a little while. So I haven't submitted any of the exercises. If you've seen any of the other progress reports, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, when you play all the licks or the phrases as a set in all 12 keys, so backing track at 170 BPM, and you do it without too many mistakes, you send that video to Christian Van Hamert. He looks at it and you pass or fail. And he gives you notes as well. So I haven't submitted any of the exercises, but I'm getting close. I sampled most of the chapters, and I've kind of found that I like learning them kind of early on before I intend to submit any of the exercises, and give them time to kind of marinate, right? Give them time to really sink in, so that when it comes time to try to pass the chapter and submit the exercises, I really have them, and I'm not still struggling to memorize them or struggling to actually play it. I can be a little more relaxed with it. Also with book 3, there is one particular triplet lick that triplets were a big holdup for me of book 2. There are a lot of chapters that took me like 4 or 5 weeks to complete because of certain triplet passages. And there are some tricky triplets again in book 3. There is one lengthy triplet lick that is proving to be very difficult, despite my work on book 2 triplets. This one is a little bit different. I'm not sure why, but I kind of top out at 95%. So we'll see. If you're curious what it sounds like, I played it for a while in today's practice session and yesterday's practice session. So we'll see. All right. This is kind of another change. My guitar needs a setup, I think, because it sounds pretty... I'm sweating like crazy. It's really hot now. My guitar sounds pretty out of tune in the higher frets. So when I hit like the 13th fret on E, like when I hit an F, a high F, 13th fret, I got to bend it a little so that it's not so flat. It's probably the heat and humidity. Unfortunately, I don't really treat this guitar very well. I never put it in its case. It sits in the room. I pick it up, I do my practice, I put it down, and I don't have a humidifier or a dehumidifier. So this is all my fault. but the guitar is sounding pretty rough right now, even if I tune it. And the other problem is my tuner doesn't work anymore. Last time I tried tuning my guitar, it told me every single string was a D. So I guess I need to solve that as well. All right, what else? Oh, so in the last progress report, I said that one of the things I wanted to improve for the month of June, despite being gone for half of it, was I wanted to start posting on the community tab again. Now in the community tab, what I like to do is I take screenshots of pretty much every comment and my reply on my videos, and I post them as pictures in the community tab. And I was pretty good about it when I was gone, and then I got back and started practicing and just sort of let that go. So we'll see. I'll try to get back to it. I still really like the idea, and I will eventually, but let's see. Oh, this is not really guitar related, but this is channel related. And again, it doesn't really matter, but my subscriber count kind of stalled. I think I've maxed out the number of people who are interested in subscribing to a channel where it's literally just a person practicing. I had someone comment the other day, I think they're pushing their SEO service or whatever. And they're like, well, how come you have 202 or 3 videos and no subscribers? I'm like, well, because I don't teach. I don't talk to the camera except for once a month where I just talk about myself. I'm playing a very niche genre of music. I very rarely put up any sort of finished product, right? I have 5 shorts that are sort of finished products. So I only mention it because it'll be nice to look back a few years from now and we'll see. But I didn't expect anyone to subscribe when I started the channel. I thought I would sit at 1 or 2 for the next few years. I kind of told myself, if I get awesome, then it'll have been worth it, and then maybe then people will start subscribing. But there have been 860 something people who find value or whatever in the channel. So it was a bit of a downer. I mean, it's happened a few times that the subscriber count has stalled, but unfortunately, every time it happens, I fixate on it, and I hate that. But after a few days, once it's stalled, I get back to the original intention behind the channel, right? Just put up raw practice sessions, right? Just that's it. It's just a record of someone's hopeful growth, and that's it. So the funny thing is that when I was gone for 2 weeks and didn't practice, didn't upload anything, the subscriber count went up. I feel like it was YouTube's way of trying to entice me back. I came back, started uploading again, flatlined. So I hate that I care, but there it is. I mean, I don't care enough to make other kinds of content. Right? I'm not going to start doing lessons anytime soon. But yeah, I don't know. There you go. Things I think about when making this channel. All right, so I always like to end with where I want to be a month from now. So I got back from my trip and started practicing fairly consistently, although not hitting 2 hours each time. So I want to get back to a consistent 2 hours. That's where I want to be a month from now. Again, I'll make, hopefully it's not an empty promise, but I want to get back to the community tab. I do like posting the comments, and I like gathering them in one place. What else? Oh, I also want to start submitting book 3 exercises. So I'm not sure how long this book is going to take me to finish. It feels harder than book 2, but that could just be because I haven't done it for very long. But I do want to start submitting book 3 exercises. So maybe a month from now, I'll have finished maybe 3 chapters. That might be a stretch, but they're sort of in progress right now. And if I can get this triplet lick down, I should be able to do it fairly quickly. So we'll see. That is all I could think of for my progress report. So as always, if you have any comments or questions, send me a message or leave me a comment. I respond to all of them, good and bad, encouraging and critical. That's all. until next time, if you play an instrument, keep practicing, and I will see you. Well, I'll post tomorrow, but I'll talk to you in a month.